Right guys, so today we're just going to do a quick koi appreciation video. Quite a lot of fish here that we can look at individually. This Sanke is actually one of my favourite fish on the whole entire farm at the moment. So I've had this fish since Yonsai. It's quite a small Yonsai, just over 40 cm, from a small, really relatively unknown breeder called Saito now. There's a few Saitos around in circulation, the name. This particular one is on the main route 17, coming from Nagaoka City towards the breeders. Small place. I was introduced here some years ago by Yagenji, and yeah, at the time, I mean, we drove to this place and pulled up at his house, went into his garage, no signs of a koi house, and in there was just one pond. Yeah, it was crazy. No daylight. One pond separated off into 3 sections, with what he was claiming at the time were Ginrin Yuki Asagi, and to me they look nothing more than Ginrin Shiro Muji, and that's what I believe them to be. He also just had one other pond that did actually have some daylight, where he was keeping a few other fish, and that is generally, bar a few tanks here and there, the entirety of this guy's operation. So since then he'd been working on the farm a lot, seeing his fish at koi shows. He's won some nice awards. The Kohaku looked particularly interesting. At the same time as buying this, bought 2 Kohaku as well. Seemed like he'd really been investing heavily in his parent fish. There was some absolutely superb Momotaro lineage stuff, fish from Yagenji. This particular Sanke comes from a Marido female, pretty big fish as well. So yeah, I mean, from the moment I saw this, just absolutely blew me away. You know, the quality at the time. The Benny was relatively soft from what I can remember, and the Sumi was down substantially, but it's just the informal quirkiness of the pattern, just the whole sort of flow and elegance of it really appealed to me. And I very quickly got a vision painted in my head of where this fish could go, which is important for me when I'm looking at future prospects. It stayed with the breeder for 1 year, which by then I think we got it's about 10 cm growth, 10-12 cm from what I can remember. Got it into the 50s at sansai, and yeah, it was time to ship it home. Now, what actually happened with this fish at harvest time? It came out absolutely superb. Colour Benny had come up a lot. It was looking really great. Body had amassed well. But from the time, so October, November harvest to actually shipping, this fish didn't ship till May of the following year. And it was obviously being kept in his pond that has no daylight. So not only had the fish slimmed down a lot, the Benny would just, the intensity of it was completely gone. It really had started retracting quite a lot. So yeah, I was really keen to get it back and try and work on the condition and get the fish moving. So yeah, what had happened to the Benny, it was always something I knew that could be recovered, and as we see it today, it has been. It's still not right up at that peak level where it was, but it has recovered substantially, and it's looking good. So since I got it home throughout the main season, unfortunately it wasn't that kind to it. Obviously it had full daylight, so we was able to start getting the Benny up, but from a growing perspective, the pond wasn't in a position to be raising koi. It was too overstocked, literally holding stock. So yeah, it suffered from a growth perspective. So that is actually the pond I decided to give a winter growing season to. Did have a decent period for probably about 8 weeks, but then again, due to needing the pond, it's become quite insistent. We had to start using it and adding more stock in there, which was unfortunate. So this fish was absolutely flying. The growth had been phenomenal, and yeah, the conditions really come good. Since then, the feeding's dropped off. The temperature's been dropped as well, so it has been conditioning up a lot. You can see that in the Shiroji. I mean, it's always been a prominent characteristic of it, the Shiroji quality, but now it's really started to come together after a period with lower feeding and lower water temperatures. Yeah, so the growth suffered, as we're saying. I mean, we're at just getting on for 66 cm now at Yonsai, which is a bit behind given where it's come from at Yonsai. Not too bad. If I'd have been able to keep my foot on the gas with this one, we definitely would have breached the 70 border. I'm absolutely confident with that. And yeah, it's just come on so well. The biggest thing and noticeable thing of late is the Sumi progression, which is really bringing the fish together now, because, you know, when it looked younger, there was these big sort of sparse areas around here, which obviously where there's no beni, but I was always confident the sumi would play its part there, which it really is doing now, and even areas new sumi progression here around the back of that beni. It's really looking good. I mean, the quality of this sumi, if we sort of get that out a little bit now, look, absolutely stunning. The depth that's forming there is incredible. All sumo sumi, which is obviously what really appealed to me. You know, it's such a desirable trait to have in them. From a body perspective, got it all going on. I'm confident, having seen the parent set and knowing the lineage, more size is going to come from this. I don't see it being a problem getting to the sort of 80 cm mark, even given the sort of journey it's been through so far. And yeah, I'd be confident it's going to get there. In all honesty, the body shape has got all the characteristics needed to do it. You can see it's got a really strong head, good mouth, still showing nice power in the backbone, and a really nice thick peduncle with some good height there as well. Beni is absolutely gorgeous. Still more capacity to come from the pigmentation as well. Kiwa, really nice sort of refined Maruzomi Kiwa we can see. Down this edge to the Maruzomi is where it scallops, follows the line of the scale, looking absolutely superb down that side, and working wonderfully with the sumi there as well. Great characteristic that. The one area that has been refining really well just of late is the sashi. You see, you know, the few areas here, the sashi is very consistent, and I'm confident that's really going to refine, certainly as the shiroji is getting even more thickness. We can see also in the skin, I don't know if we'll get that through on the camera, but there is areas we can see on the shiroji where the fukarin is really starting to progress now as well, which is going to be really awesome to see. And I'd expect that to progress a lot more within the next season if that gets the growth coming through. So yeah, everything heading in the right way, and then obviously comes the pattern side of it. And yeah, I always knew this sumi was going to make up for that area of the body which could have been seen as a bit of a weakness, and it really starting. Now it's there, it is filling that space visually, and I just think it's a super elegant fish, very different to most other Sanke you're going to see there, and very high in quality as well. So I'm really hoping this season, I'm just trying to plan because there's not too many big fish kicking around, so pond space, I'm already having the dilemma of what's going where, too many options to be honest, and not enough ponds as it stands. So we'll see, but I'm really keen to raise this as much as I can because I know it can really go the distance, and potentially, you know, in another year or two be a super strong koi show fish for over here in the UK as well. So just take a moment to appreciate it before we get this one back in the pond.